Hello! Alright, let's get started on the map. The map for the Mad Bloxxer. So, right now, I've entered a game. I've colored the base plate a color, and I've added grass to it. I've also changed the size of the base plate a little bit so that it's a nice number, and I've inserted a part, and I've made it symmetric in form factor. I've made all the sides smooth, and I made it anchored. So, I am ready to build a map for a Bloxxer game, where one person is a Bloxxer and one person is a sheriff, and all the other players are there to communicate and to not get stabbed with a sword, right? So, we gotta think about the game mechanics when we're making it. So it's very similar to a first-person shooter game, to be honest, because it's a lot about visibility and knowing what you can see and what you can't see. So first I'm gonna have this part. I just cut and pasted it a few times. We're gonna try to lay out a plan, a floor plan, before just going away in a building. If you want to build details, it's fine to just start building and detailing things out. But since I don't really have time to detail an entire map, I'm just gonna be planning it out by the floor and then building it from there. And that's generally how you get the best designed maps as well. So let's just pretend these are rooms. I'm just going to try to make something that feels good to play with, good to play in. Let's have one giant room in the middle, and then some like peripheral rooms around it. Not just a circle of rooms, but let's have one long room. And you just move these around and just pick a shape that looks nice. In fact, the shape doesn't even matter because players never look at the map like this. They look at it like this. They don't even look at it like this because they can't even see through and see where all the rooms are. But pick a design that you think feels right for the mechanic for your game. This one to me feels good so far because for our game mechanics, we want to limit how much people can see. We want to have dead ends so that the Mad Bloxxer can corner people, so that no one can continually run around. We want people to be able to spread out and only be able to see a few people at a time. I think a shape like this is good for now. Now we're going to want to design the connections between these rooms. I'm just going to take a part, color it blue or something. Not that blue. It doesn't matter what blue, but I'm just gonna be. Right now I'm pretty much sketching in Roblox with parts. So anything I build now, I can easily go back on because that's what it's here. That's what I'm doing right now is just testing, seeing what may feel right. Of course, if you know the kind of map you want to make, you'd be aiming towards that. So like if I want to make an office, I'd probably look at some offices and try to replicate a similar building style that those do. Or if you're trying to build a warehouse, it depends on whatever you're really trying to replicate. So right now I'm pretty much just just talking and adding corridors between every room. Anyways, so the blue indicate corridors or hallways between rooms. Another thing you might want to think about for this game or for any other like shooter game, you would want to know visibility, know what people can see and what people can't see. So this next object I'm going to be indicating is going to be non-walk-throughable but see-throughable. So this is like a window or maybe something in a room like a desk that you can look over but you can't jump over. So I'm going to be using these as windows. It's a big space to be a window, but I'll fix it up later. Make it smaller like that. bring that forward. So maybe we want a window here and a window here. So anything that goes on in the middle, anyone outside could probably see, or if you're in the middle, you could probably see a lot more into these rooms. That's interesting. Because this game visibility really makes a difference, because if you're the Mad Bloxxer, no one knows that you're the Mad Bloxxer until you pull out your sword, right, and try to blox people. So if you can blox one person at a time, or 2 people at a time, like in a room where no one's watching, that's great. Like that's what they're trying to do, is trying to pick off people without being seen. So when you add elements like windows, it makes the game more complicated and more fun. Not more complicated, but it gives players a little bit more to think about when playing. And all these, like, you can also think about visibility. Like if you're looking through this hallway, you can actually see into that room way over there. Or actually, you can see in the far room, there's like a straight line here. So that's a lot of visibility, but only a small portion, because there's a huge amount of room in each room. So that moves on to the next item that we're going to want in these. That's going to be just objects in rooms that you can't see over and you can't walk over. So this would just be like a box or a pillar or something that would extend up and you can't see through it. You can't, so someone could possibly hide behind it, right? So that's what the red blocks are going to be. I'm just placing these pretty much haphazard. Trying to imagine, like, if I were in game, what would be some nice, fun hiding spots. And also, what visibility would I want to cut off? So maybe I want you to see in this room, but maybe I only want you to see in halfway into this room. Or maybe I want to, which I do, is make a crazy kind of square of these, so you can really like get lost in them, trying to chase someone down, or being chased. You can try to lose someone in there. And a lot of the times you'll want to put, if you don't have doors, like if it's an end of a hallway, you'll probably want to put one here, just so you can't see through all these rooms in a line, because it does look a little bit weird. But also, you don't want to put any solid blocks right next to like a window, of course, because it wouldn't make sense. When you're designing the map, it also, you want to feel like it makes sense. So you don't want to be looking through a window and have something like completely blocking it off on the other side of the window. It doesn't make sense in real life, and it doesn't make sense in your game why you'd have that window there if you can't really see anything anyways. But here it's providing a purpose. By putting a block on one end, you're pretty much saying you can look in from one side and see lots of information, but here you don't see much. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a one-way thing, one-way watching. This looks pretty interesting. What would be cool is a room with only one way into it. So you can do that by saying this room is this long. So what happens here is, this is one way. If you walk in down here, if you walk in and you go this way, that's one way. You gotta actually backtrack to go either way. So you can do that. Another thing is you could just do this. But I don't really want to do this, because that means there's only two ways through this room. Maybe that's okay. That's kind of cool. Maybe we'd put the window over here then. And then, that's interesting. I kind of like this. Kind of like this. And again, if you want to add your own creativity, I mean, that's what this is. So, like, whatever you're feeling, you should do. And I am relating this to a first-person shooter type map, because this map would work for a shooter game as well. Basically, because if you see something, that means you're able to shoot it. And here, if you see something, you gain that knowledge. And this game is about actually knowledge, believe it or not. It's about knowing who the Mad Bloxxer is, or knowing who the sheriff is if they are sitting there with their catching device out. So it looks pretty good. After doing this, you'd want to extend the walls. Actually, no, you wouldn't. You'd want to make sure that it feels right. So we're gonna do a tools test start server. I mean, actually, tools test play solo. Sorry. So playing solo just throws your currently logged in character into the game that you've made. So here I am in the main room. It's actually bigger than I imagined it was. Yeah, it is pretty big, really spacious. Well, it is the biggest room. These hallways would be shorter because obviously a window is not going to be that long. So if we want these two buildings to be closer together, the hallways are going to end up being shorter as well. You could do that by making these rooms larger to fit. And probably move this room over. This room is also very spacious. So this is why you gotta test solo. You gotta make sure along the way while you're building the game and building the map that everything works how you imagine it is. And this is not. This is too open, too big, too much walking. It's only about half as too large as I want it to be. So it's that's kind of confusing statement. It's not too much bigger than I want it to be, but I'd want to consolidate it a little bit. So let's go back to Studio. Let's try to do this. I'm just going to delete the hallways for now. Actually, not delete them. I want to remember where they are, so I'm going to drag them out. I'm going to take these rooms. First thing I'm going to do is move them closer together. Okay, they're closer together, but they're still just as large as they were before. All we really did was cut down hallway space. So, how can we trim these up? I still want long hallways. Long hallways are fun. In fact, I'm inspired to make a long hallway right now. We're going to make one over here. That's neat. So it used to connect right there, I think. Can't quite remember. But there used to be a connector somewhere over here. This room could actually move over. To make room for this hallway. I'm going to shorten this one up a little bit. That's kind of cool. I don't like this straight hallway, so actually I'm going to put that back. But I want a dead end over here, so maybe I'm just going to add another room. There we go. Very dead end like. And it's always a little bit too long. Maybe we should put a closet or something. Some really small, tight room. Just kind of like a nook on the side. I think that's cool. You know, maybe we could do that same thing here too. On the side of this room. Copy this. Throw it over here. This main room. Funny thing. I forgot to add any entrances to it. So, let's put this window here. Put this connector here. Copy paste it. Maybe put another one here. Maybe here. Here's kind of nice. There. So this looks like a good map design. For a lesson I might have spent a little too long working on it, but this is a nice map. Actually, let's make it a little bit tighter. Oops. Cool. Let's do another test solo. Actually, this room might need another box. Alright. Let's test it out. Oh man, right before I did solo, I saw a spot where I want to put another box. Copy this, put it there. That's pretty cool. This room probably needs some as well. Okay. Here we are. Still a little bit large, but that's cool. Maybe you could imagine some like table or something here. Looks pretty good, feels pretty good. Hallway size feels good. You know, this closet thing right here, it might be cool to make this an actual separate room instead of just an alcove. I may put a doorway right here. So it's another like one-way hiding entrance, hidey spot. It's kind of fun. That spot could be fun to play in as well. Nice hiding spot, or kind of like a roundabout when people are being chased. I think it's pretty good. It might be a little bit too big though if we're trying to make a 10-player game, so we might boost it up later depending on well, there's two options. We could either make the map smaller, cut out some rooms, maybe this long one, maybe some over here, maybe this one. or we could make the game larger in the amount of players. Both options are pretty easy. Probably changing the players is easier, but we'll decide later. That's it for this lesson. Be sure to check out our next lesson in the series. I'm Stickmasterluke, signing off, and remember, you make the game.